It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 162. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, January 4th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So happy New Year to you out there, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2026 of the Dep Lewis Show. It's going to be a great year is my hope, as always, so thank you for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime for any amount if you would like to support the show. In today's show, we'll have 3 sections as always. Back to the regular format after last week's Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2025. One of my favorite episodes to do each year, so please make sure you go listen to that if you have not listened to anything else recently of my podcast here. But today's show will have 3 sections as always. The first section, I'll tell you about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. The third and final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, is a break from all the video game talk. And in this section, I like to get into the world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. And it's going to be a bummer of an update today. There's been 2 games in the NFL I want to catch you up on. One that took place last night, and I've lost a gentleman's bet to a non-gentleman, Mr. Stoop Woot, and he won a pretty good bet. So I'm going to tell you about that one in the final section of the show. It's very disappointing and very sad for me, so you definitely want to stick around for that. But the first order of business today is to talk about video games, because that's what this show is all about. So let's get into what have I been playing to start off the new year. I've been playing more of the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025 Game of the Year winner, Ghost of Yotei. So I've been making some more progress here. I wrote down that I'm always finding new stuff to do, whether it's main story, side story, open world, exploratory stuff. I think it's a little bit difficult, and I mean this in a good way, to determine which is a main story quest versus a side story quest. I think they're all of very high quality. They all have the same kind of, every bit of it has, from small character to major character to minor scenario to major scenario. It all has great attention to detail. It's all very high quality and just very fun to experience this open world. I think about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom a lot while playing this game, of just how much I am enjoying the open world portion of just being able to walk around and find some things, and the world looks beautiful. Controlling Atsu is extremely fun, and just continuing to have more fun with this. I actually looked up the trophies last night for this game, and I'm not ever really a trophy hunter, but I think they're somewhat doable if I just keep playing and trying. I'm going to have to play this game in New Game Plus mode, which would be pretty fun to do. So that's just something I've been kicking around in my mind. I guess I would have to play on New Game Plus with the hardest difficulty, and I think I could reasonably be able to get all the trophies in this game. So really having fun with this. I'm trying to think of what else I want to say about it. So yeah, maybe go on a little bit of trophy hunting. I think some of it will just come naturally, it looks like, from completing some like collectible things and just missions across the world. So that's pretty nice. But I've been having so much fun with the Ghost of Yotei. I continue to do so, and meeting other new important characters that get added to your list. You have like one of the menus, you can look at all your like really close friends or family or companions, and it'll tell you a little bit of history about them. And it's also a quick menu. If one of your companions has like an update for you of something they can sell to you, something they want to talk to you, it's a good screen to go look at them all at once. And I got a new character added, which is an older lady named Huchi. I don't know if she's a Huchi, but Huci, so I don't know how exactly you would pronounce that, but she was a very, very cool character. Someone stole a bunch of robes that her small like little settlement of people built from the ground up. These robes, they dried out, I guess it was tree bark that made these robes that were really impressive for, not having a lot of materials to build them off of. And some people came through and stole it. It ended up being a man and his wife was pregnant, and he was stealing these, trying to,
they're just trying to survive. So they track him down. The guy pulls a knife on Huchi and Atsu, who's accompanying her, but ends up, Huchi kind of invites him to the village if they'll return the items and says, hey, I know you probably need some help. I kind of, feel bad for you a little bit. It was just a nice moment, and there's a lot of those nice moments in this game where you might not expect the outcome. So this was a nicer outcome. This was a tough old lady, and she was like, hey, I'm tough. I can go handle this situation, and I know the right thing to do. And Atsu went along to help and did not get in the way. And even after this, Atsu, when the man and the wife go back to the village, Atsu, you can walk by them, and they're like in a hut, chilling next to a fire. And Atsu, you can go up and talk to him, and she says, hey, please don't take Huchi's kindness for granted. She basically says, I'm kind of watching you, don't be shiesty up in here, especially for the kindness that they're showing you around here. So just another little touching kind of real moment in this video game that I think they do a great job of doing. And I think that's something that is extremely cool about this game. It's how the characters feel pretty real. The writing's really good. It's not overdone. It's very simple, or not very simple, but it meshes into the world so well. And I think that's just some of the great things going on here with this video game. All right, so what else about Ghost of Yotei? They also announced if you like to collect video game memorabilia or things to display, they have announced a 1/4 scale statue announced of Atsu. It looks extremely cool. The pre-order starts sometime in Q1 of 2026 of the current year, and this statue is being made by Prime 1 Studios. So they look like they're pretty illustrious, or this might not be their first statue they've created, so I'm just not familiar with these kind of things, but it definitely looks cool. I was impressed seeing it come across the timeline, and I don't mind having a statue of Atsu. I don't know, she's super cool. It looks awesome. The wolf is in there, and just been really, really loving this game. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about it. I keep getting cool costumes. I keep trying to change my costume and my armor and my mask for the different area I'm in, so I guess it's like a little good role playing going on there, and just continuing to enjoy this game more and more and more, and I love the Ghost of Yotei. All right, what else have I been playing to start off this first, week of the new year? I've been doing some racing, and I did a lot of racing last year, but I'm continuing that. I've been playing some more Mario Kart World. I had a pretty dumb moment, and I still haven't gotten first place in this game, and I had a race last week. I basically was just doing online racing in Mario Kart World last week, and I had a race where I thought I was, it was the third lap, right close to the end. I'm racing along. I can sense two people on my tail, but I think I'm in first, and I'm pulling up. I get hit. Oh shit! Oh no! Trouble happening in Mario Kart. The two people pass me, as I'm about to go through the finish, I actually stand up from the couch. This is how silly this was. I stand up from the couch as I'm racing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get first place. This is going to be amazing. And I get hit. The other two people sneak in front of me, and I'm like, okay, third place. I've been pretty happy getting third place. I don't get it too often. But, a little bit disappointed because I'm sitting here standing up like a fool by myself in the living room thinking I'm about to win at Mario Kart World. And the rankings come up, and, where am I on the rankings? Number 9. I was in a battle between the, 7, 8, and 9 racers on this course. So just pretty disappointing, and I did not get first, and I did not even get third. So, pretty noob-like. But I did have a couple more good races in there, but nothing to report back that was so strong. And I've been using Waluigi still, and that's really my only report from the Mario Kart World, but I've still been having fun with that game, and the racing in that game is impeccable. I've also been racing around in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, still been enjoying this, still trying to complete all the Grand Prix and all the different speeds they have offered. I still have a pretty good portion to go, kind of like in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is nice, and I could see myself, I'm going to be playing both of those games probably throughout the year, or I guess not consistently, but on and off, trying to make some progress on the Grand Prix because I really enjoy doing that. But I also like the online racing, and I've been doing I did some online racing in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. I think I had a third place finish there too. And one thing I do like about Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is how quickly it gets you into the online races. It definitely does a better job of that than Mario Kart. I know Mario Kart's trying to balance 24 players, but it still takes a long time to get you into your crew. But then after that, the matchmaking is pretty quick after the first initial boost there. But in Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, it feels something more similar to like a Call of Duty or even almost like Splatoon, of getting into a match pretty quickly and getting in and out and just into the action, back to the menu kind of thing, which is nice. And I spent some more of my in-game currency on, getting some accolades for Tails. So it's like a friendship meter in this game where you can pick a character, you can spend the in-game currency, and you can unlock specific things for each character. So I've been mainly racing as Tails in this game. So I've been giving Tails some in-game currency, and I just got a new decal for my car. So now I have 2 custom Tails decals, and the next one I think is another decal. So just pretty cool stuff to show a little bit of your own, I guess, personality or interest in the game and give your own unique spin. And I think that's very nice about it. And it lets you do all sorts of custom stuff. There's plenty of stuff to unlock. You can unlock it all, it seems like, with the in-game currency. And you get a little bit of in-game currency for like everything you're doing in this game. So I'm a little bit tempted to play this on Switch 2 or try it out. I tried the Switch 1 demo and I was a little bit underwhelmed. I could kind of see the vision, but I think the Switch 1 hardware was kind of holding it back. And then I ended up buying the game on PlayStation 5 and was really, really amazed by it. But now there is a Switch 2 version out, which I haven't heard too much about it, but it would be nice to have this in the mix on my Switch with my other games and in handheld. So it's one I could see myself trying to purchase on Switch 2 at some point. I did try the demo in the store, but I really couldn't decipher if it was a Switch 2 specific demo. I started downloading it, I really couldn't tell, I just deleted it. I probably could do an online search to see about the demo and which version of it is, and if they really do show you the Nintendo Switch 2 version. I'm not really sure, but this is also one I could just see myself revisiting there either way, because I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game. And I guess you'll hear me talking a lot about these racing games this year for how things are going right now and how I'm feeling. All right, what else have I been playing in this past week? I've been playing some more Hollow Knight Silksong, and here I actually had another moment of, having I don't know if you call it a visceral reaction, but or maybe a physical reaction. Like, I'm saying I'm standing up trying to win a Mario Kart race, and I beat a boss in Hollow Knight Silksong and put my hands in the air after. It was really, really, really cool. And I'm making some progress here. I was, before I completed that boss, feeling a little bit like I did from Hollow Knight 1. I'm feeling a little bit lost, a little bit unsure where to go. But I've kept on poking and prodding in Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's helped me move forward a little bit. And I do like some things about Hollow Knight Silksong better, I think. I like the character of Hornet in general maybe a little bit better. I like her ability to mantle, which is really nice. So you don't have to rely just on your jumps. You can actually, jump to the edge and get up on different platforms. I think that's pretty nice. I like her diagonal attack. I just noticed that I had a diagonal attack recently, and I think that's pretty cool. I know the original Hollow Knight or the Vessel gets different upgrades throughout that game, but I've just been trying to make some progress. I really enjoy being able to jump in this game and start just, attacking some enemies, getting some rosary beads, which is a form of currency in the game, getting some shards, which is the other currency. So I've been able to purchase a lot of things from the shop. There's actually a donation board in this game where you can help out other people. It gives you some more objectives. So I think it seems to me like everything's just a little bit better in Hollow Knight Silksong. I think Hollow Knight Original probably has a whole lot of merit to it still, but I think it's probably like a 98% greatness of what this game's doing. Or, maybe the percentage is a little bit different, but it just seems to me like Silksong is really just doing everything just a tick better. And it's kind of the Breath of the Wild, the Tears of the Kingdom argument to me, that they're both extremely amazing on their own merit. It might be a personal preference of which one you like better, but that it's just really, really cool. So I've been making some progress on Hollow Knight Silksong. I learned the patterns of the boss. I like that the boss was pretty close to a bench. So, I'm a noob over here pretty much for trying to figure out the strategy and how to get through this game. I've been, I've given up or gotten stuck and retried. So I'm still trying to learn it, but I've been able to, for that boss, I was able to locate a bench that was close by. At a bench, you can restore all your health. It's kind of a good reset point. And then if the boss is close by, you can go fight him. If you lose your souls there, you know the path to get back to get your souls. So it is a souls game. And I had some portions yesterday where I had a ton of rosary beads. I kind of went really, really far into the world where I haven't been before. But I had all these rosary beads and I wanted to go spend them. So I had to make my way back to the shops. And I really had to kind of learn my way through the map. And I ended up dying on the way back. I lost my souls again. So I had to be able to backtrack and find my same route. So I've been able to do that. And I guess I'm going to end up learning my lay of the land in this game naturally. But that was a good instance of, oh man, I really need to go collect these rosary beads I lost because I have a lot. And I was able to successfully do so, but it took a moment of dying and I put the controller down. Like, this game really gets you in your feels or whatever. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to put the controller down. I went and give my dog Daisy a pet or something, or went and got a sip of a soda, or did just went and did something for half a second, came back, and then was like, okay, I gotta go get these rosary beads. I need them because it's important in this game. And I was able to go get them. I was able to go spend them, and I bought everything that the cartographer guy had, and he told me next time if well, it might be a lady. I'm really not sure. It's just a really cool character that is singing a lot too, and you can actually. It's just a cool way you can identify some of these characters in the open world. They'll be singing, and they'll be singing their same little song. This character in particular was like down in the below area, and then once I bought out all the characters' wares, they went back up to like the hub town and was up there singing. So it was just really cool touches in this game, and I've been having a lot of fun with this. So I could recommend these games if you have any interest in them, especially because these games I think are like $14.99 a piece. Each Hollow Knight game, super high quality. Difficult combat, and just high quality. I guess I've been saying that a lot today about these games, but I really believe these are, and that's why I've been playing some more of them in the first week of the new year. So this is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So I'm not thinking about backlogs. I'm not making lists this year of games I want to complete on consoles or games in my backlog I'm trying to complete. I'm going to play some backlog games still, but I'm focusing on the front log. I got down the rabbit hole a little bit last year of like, hey, if a new game comes out, do I go back to the beginning of the franchise or do I play the new one? This year, I'm just going to kind of focus on the new releases and playing those if I want to, and mixing some backlog things in there as well. So not any greater focus to play more games, but just basically to focus on these new year releases and have a whole year of focusing on the front log. So that's the theme for the year, and I guess I haven't had the opportunity to play anything on the front log yet, really, because it's only 4 days into the new year. But in the midsection, the video game news section, I'm going to get into a little bit of a 2026 look ahead, and I really only have a couple games that I want to put on the list that are like definite ones I'm going to play on the day they come out, and there's a whole bunch of other games. There's going to be plenty more that I'm going to want to play or be interested in. Some will be surprises, and some we will just come across them more as they get released. But I wanted to do a little bit of a 2026 look ahead in the midsection and highlight some of the the really number one with a bullet or whatever games that I want to play for sure. So we'll get into that in the midsection. So that's going to wrap up this first section of the show. So what I've been playing is Ghost of Yotei, Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing, CrossWorlds, Hollow Knight, Silksong, and we talked about it being the year of the front log. So we are going to take a quick break, listen to some lovely music by a friend of the show and friend of real life Ballness, and come back for the midsection where I'll tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 162. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And since this is the beginning of a new year, I want to start off with a little bit of a 2026 look ahead, and specifically for like the most major releases, the games that I know I want to play on the day of release. And I did some with dates and some don't have dates, but I guess I kind of focused on games that I suspect will release in 2026. So not games that seem a little bit, that have been kind of announced or talked about. These all seem, I feel pretty confident all these are going to release in 2026. That's why I put these on this list. So these will be the biggest ones for me of the year. So starting in February 27th will be the first one, will be Resident Evil Requiem. This is releasing on February 27th for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Steam, Nintendo Switch 2, which is very interesting, and Epic Games Store. So this one kind of falls into the category of something I'm interested in. I've played some Resident Evil in the past. I've completed 5. I played portions of 4. I have 2 digitally. So I'm kind of flirted with the franchise. I guess, I've completed 5, which is nice, and I do forget that from time to time. But I've flirted with this franchise. I haven't played some of the more recent ones. And this is one I think I'm going to play. And I think I'm going to possibly play it on Nintendo Switch 2, because I've been hearing that it's an okay port. And there's something in my mind that, maybe playing a horror game in handheld will be a little bit less scary, possibly. If the screen's smaller, the monsters won't be able to get me as easily or something like that. But this is one that has me interested about the Switch 2 version for sure. And this one, I'm pretty sure I'm going to want to play this on day one. And, like if this was last year, this would fall into, hey, I'd be trying to probably play 2 or 3 or 4 before, trying to figure that out. But this is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. So I'm looking forward to Resident Evil Requiem on February 27th. And the back of the box talk on this one is a new era of survival horror arrives. the latest and most immersive entry yet in the iconic Resident Evil series. Experience the terrifying survival horror with FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft and dive into pulse-pounding action with legendary agent Leon S. Kennedy, which that was announced recently that Leon's going to be included in the game, so very cool. And both of their journeys and unique gameplay styles intertwine into a heart-stopping, emotional experience that will chill you to your core. And Resident Evil Requiem. So that's the first game of the year that I would be very, very excited for and plan on playing on day one. And the other one, there's only one other one with a date that, is on this list for me. There's plenty of other games that I have interest in. I'll be talking about on this show, highlighting, possibly trying myself even on day one. But, looking at the calendar, being honest with myself, there's only really a few on here that I'm going to, that I'm really, really going to be hyped for on release day that I know of so far that's been announced. The other one's Grand Theft Auto 6, which I'm sure everybody else in the world, I think there's probably there's a large majority of people who like Grand Theft Auto games, and I think this one is a franchise that, I'm going to use the word quality again. It really meshes up quality with having a gigantic player base. I mean, that's an amazing recipe, and that's why they make tons and tons of money. But Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to release on November 19th, unless it gets delayed again, which I think there's maybe an argument that could happen, but you never know. But they're planning right now. There's been a couple delays, but this one they're targeting November 19th for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, and a PC port or version will be maybe like another year down the road would be my guess is how it normally goes. But Grand Theft Auto 6 releasing on November 19th. I'm a pretty big fan of this franchise. I played some of the, I never had a PS2 like during the PS2 like main lifetime, but I did get one later and played some of the Grand Theft Auto games that way, which I really enjoyed. These were games like I played at a friend's house or a cousin's house back during the era, but did catch up on a little bit later in life and really enjoyed, like San Andreas. I think that's my favorite one from the early times. And then during the Xbox 360 era, which was one of my most favorite or nostalgic video gaming eras, I played Grand Theft Auto 4, which I thought was really, really awesome. And then Grand Theft Auto 5, I think is an awesome, amazing game. One that I've completed. I'm pretty sure I completed 4. I know I completed 5, and I've completed a lot of games, but I've played a lot more games than I've completed. But that is one that I really, really enjoy, and I'm looking forward to Grand Theft Auto 6 for sure. Jason and Lucia, I've always known the deck is stacked against them. This is the back of the box talk on the game. But when an easy score goes wrong, they find themselves on the darkest side of the sunniest place in America, in the middle of a criminal conspiracy stretching across the state of Leonida, forced to rely on each other more than ever if they want to make it out alive. And, this one's a return back to Vice City, USA. So it looks extremely cool. Really, really high budget, but it looks like it's going to be an amazing game. And hopefully I'll be playing it on November 19th. All right, so those are the two games in 2026 that I'm very, very interested in, and those are the only ones that have firm dates right now. But there's a couple other games that would be day one purchases for me. Or these, I guess Grand Theft Auto would 100% be one. And the next, there's a few on here maybe that are like a 95% guarantee, but this next one is 100%. This is probably my most anticipated game that I know of that has like a sort of a firm release date. So this one has no firm date. I guess I just made that one sound pretty stupid, but there's no specific date, but this one does seem like it's coming out in 2026, and that's Forza Horizon 6, which I'm a huge Forza fan. And the only question here is, now that I don't own an Xbox, is this game going to release simultaneously on PlayStation 5, or I'm going to have to wait a bit? And that will be interesting, and I will definitely be having some FOMO if people are playing this on the Xbox for like a significant amount of time before it goes to PlayStation. And the only reason I say that is because Forza Horizon 5 is on PlayStation. That released on there last year. We have Gears of War on PlayStation now, and we are getting a remake of the original Halo that's coming out next year, and that's already been announced to come multiple platforms on release day, I believe is the case there. So I'm pretty hopeful I'll be able to play this in the current year, but it's definitely my most anticipated. This one definitely is if I had to guess what my game of the year is going to be for 2026, I think, surely there'll be a bunch of surprises, but Forza Horizon 6 definitely has a strong case because Playground Games is a great developer. It's being published by Xbox. They are discovering the breathtaking landscapes of Japan and becoming a racing legend at the Horizon Festival. So having the landscape of Japan, I've been really into Yotei, I think is a perfect translation. And they did Mexico last time, which was really, really cool. and they do a wonderful job building out these worlds. The cars are amazing to drive. The variety in the cars is really, really cool, and the variety of things you can do and the amount of DLC and things they're going to add to this game is going to be amazing. And I can definitely say this is my most anticipated game for 2026 would be Forza Horizon 6. So I hope we get I guess this will probably be like a September release or something like that would be my guess for Forza Horizon 6. But that's one, if I am able to play it on PlayStation, I'll be playing on the first day I'm able to. All right, 2 more games. This next one is a definite, well, I don't know. This one I really do want to play. I have a little bit of catching up to do in this franchise, which I might want to do. But another big release that doesn't have a firm date for 2026, but seems like it will release in 2026 that I want to play is Gears of War E-Day. And you can experience the brutal horror of Emergence Day through the eyes of Marcus Phoenix in the origin story of one of gaming's most acclaimed sagas. So, going back to, I guess this is even Prime, or maybe this is more Prime Marcus Phoenix, but getting the origin story of and actually living or playing through Emergence Day, something that's been talked about a lot over the history of Gears of War. We've seen flashbacks and all sorts of things like that. And I think it's just a really, really cool concept. They haven't really done this yet in Gears, which I think is nice, of like doing a shift in the timeline or whatever. They've all kind of just progressed forward as the series has gone on. So this is something that they haven't, done a bunch of. So I think they have a great chance here to get people interested in the franchise. I think Gears originally came out in 2006. That's been a long time ago. And we had Gears 5 sort of recently, and that's the only one that I haven't caught up on. I caught up on Gears 4 and actually last year and plan on playing Gears 5 at some point. Would definitely be something I'd like to do. But the cool part here for me and even new fans is you could play Gears of War E-Day and you'd be getting the very beginning of the story. And then if you like it, you can go play that Gears of War Reloaded that dropped last year. Then you can go, maybe they're going to put Gears 2 and Gears 3 out, and Gears 4 and 5 are already pretty easy to get. I kind of hope Gears 5 would be coming to PlayStation. That was something that I was thinking when I was making this list of how nice it would be to get a port of Gears 5 to PlayStation sometime in the first half of the year. And then if Gears of War E-Day is going to come out like in November or October of next year or something like that, which I would expect, it would be nice to be able to catch up on Gears of War 5, because I did have a whole lot of fun with Gears of War 4, and I'd like to play. I think people enjoyed 5 more than 4, so I think that's kind of the general consensus. So that's definitely one I have on my radar. I don't have it on a backlog because it's the year of the front log, but still something I've been thinking about. And Gears of War E-Day coming out in 2026, and I want to play it. All right, the last game that is most likely a definite day one play. This one, I haven't gotten into a fighting game in a little bit, but this one, everything about it looks extremely cool. I can totally see myself getting into this one when it comes out and being swept up into how much people like it, especially if they execute on how good it's looked. And that's Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. So no specific date, but it seems like it's going to release in 2026, and this one is on my most anticipated list. And this one, you assemble a team of legendary Marvel characters in the ultimate 4v4 tag team fighter from PlayStation Studios, Arc System Works, and Marvel Games. Those are the developers. Arc System Works, published by PlayStation. Experience fast, explosive action where every match is a unique and exciting team versus battle experience. So if you like fighting games at all, if you like Marvel at all, this is an extremely cool mashup. If you like just fighting games, just go check this one out. The art style looks amazing. The fighting looks really, really fun. It looks like it has its own unique flair to it. The 4v4 thing is something that is not typically done, I guess. There's plenty of instances of that being done, but I don't think, you don't think of the Street Fighters or the Mortal Kombats. This one seems like it's getting just as much polish and attention and everything put into it, but making it a 4v4 tag game, I guess going back to like a Marvel vs. Capcom type of experience. And that's something that, I think that's something that still has a lot of power in people's minds of that franchise. And fighting games is a smaller genre of the big video game puzzle, but I think that's a really, really strong subset of fans that really enjoy fighting games. And this looks like this is going to be an excellent one. So Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is definitely on my most anticipated list for 2026. So there's definitely some other games on there, but I think these are the ones that on the day of release I'm going to be most interested in picking up. I think, what was that? I think I named 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games. So that is probably pretty realistic. I think in the last couple of years, there's been 5 games that I've been debating or including on my game of the year list. I've been doing like a winner, a runner-up, some honorable mentions, and other considered. So I haven't really got over 10 games, I don't think, that I've been able to, at the end of the year, to say, hey, I've played enough of these. I really, really like them. So I think this is a pretty accurate target of just a year, but you never know what you're going to expect. You never really know what to expect with the year, and that's what's fun. So there's going to be some stuff going on that I don't expect, some surprises, and maybe when one of these games comes up, I won't be interested in it for whatever reason. Who knows? But my most anticipated games for 2026 so far would be Resident Evil Requiem, Grand Theft Auto 6, Forza Horizon 6, Gears of War E-Day, and Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. I thought about putting the Halo 1 remaster on here, but that's one that I don't know. That one's one that could be cool to have, but something that I could play Halo 1 another way. I've played Halo 1 a million times, and maybe one where I don't need to get into the new remastered version. But that's just one. So I didn't add it on the specific list, but that was one that kind of missed the cut. And I'm trying to think if there's any other things that were like on the periphery. But no, I didn't really want to include those really if there were, because I was really trying to keep this one focused. So 2026, here we are, and it looks like the possible first new game I'll be playing is on February 27th, which is Resident Evil Requiem. All right, so that's the look ahead for 2026, and I just have a few little bit of news things I want to tell you about that happened last week. So this first one, though, is a reminder for the upcoming week for Splatoon 3. There's an upcoming Splatfest or Frosty Fest, which is a weekend-long event where you pick a team, and all your points that you accrue will contribute towards your team, and they announce the winner at the end. It's just very fun to do. It's like one of my favorite times to get back into Splatoon 3. I've been trying to play every one since Splatoon 3 released. I think I've only missed a few of them, so you can catch me playing the Splatfest or Frosty Fest January 10th through the 12th, which is the upcoming weekend. So I'll be talking about this some next weekend. I played a few matches of Splatoon 3 yesterday, actually, and I played the majority of this on Switch 1. Switch 2 has a patch, like an update. It's not an official Nintendo Switch 2 version, but they have used a little bit more of the power of the Switch 2, and it just really, really looks amazing. So that was one thing I definitely noticed. It definitely has that little bit of I don't know if it's to the degree of like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom of how much better it looks, but it really is noticeable, and something that I was like, I have not played this game in a little while. I was like, damn, this game looks really, really good. And of course, it controls and feels amazing, and it's fun to play. And I love some Splatoon 3. So catch me in the Splatfest next week, and the theme for this one is, who do you spend the holidays with? Friends, family, or solo? And I think I would realistically, it's a mixture of friends and family for me, but I'm riding with the team solo over here. I'm going to try to pick a team. Maybe it'll be a little less represented. I think I like to do things solo a lot of times anyway, so I think that's maybe a little more true to my core here. I do this solo podcast for one thing, but I'm rolling with team solo over here. So everyone, on their own island, I'm joining up with you for this Splatfest coming up in the upcoming week at Splatoon 3, and we are going to try to win out there. So go play some Splatoon 3 in the upcoming weekend. There's a chance that I might stream some over the weekend, and just go play some Splatoon 3 in general. It's an amazing video game. All right, Stardew Valley, another amazing video game, has a Nintendo Switch 2 edition, which is a free upgrade and is available right now. So you can buy Stardew Valley, the original version, or the Switch 2, both for $14.99 US. And the Switch 2 has some new features like adding the mouse controls in there, local split screen co-op support up to 4 players, online multiplayer support up to 8 players, and game share to invite 3 friends to play even if they don't own the game. So pretty cool, going back to like some DS, like sharing things there with these new, with some of these new Nintendo Switch 2 games. But this patch released, I think there was a little bit of trouble with the update, and Concerned Ape has addressed some of those, and maybe is addressing some more of those. So please, just if you follow Concerned Ape, he just seems like an extremely thoughtful video game developer. So I would trust him to be on top of it, and his team or whatever. But I don't think this update launched perfectly, but I think they've been updating it since then. But Stardew Valley does have a Switch 2 edition available now, and I just wanted to point that out to you out there in the world. If you haven't played Stardew Valley, it's a 10 out of 10 excellent video game. All right, a game. This is a game that I'm interested in, but I didn't put it. It's not like a for sure game I want to play, but Dragon Quest VII Reimagined has got the release date announced. So we knew this game got announced not that long ago, actually, but the release date has now been announced to be February 5th, 2026. So only about a month and a day away from real time of recording this podcast. It's going to be $59.99 US. Unravel the mysteries of the past, gather your companions, and travel beyond the shores of your small kingdom to discover why it's the only remaining island in the world. And what did they say? Square Enix and Hexadrive Inc. are the ones developing this. Publisher is Square Enix. The original was released for PlayStation in 2000. And they have said about this one, we believe this title can be enjoyed both by long-term time fans and newcomers. So there really is a lot of that going on in the video game world today. But I guess that's okay in some instances. I guess if you played these games before, might be a little bit of a letdown. I think it's the case, but whatever. Having the options is nice, and I always kind of say that. Starting with this release, which is Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, we hope to deliver a wonderful 40th anniversary to the series to everyone. So the 40th anniversary of the Dragon Quest series, I guess, is next year, and there's some pretty big Nintendo anniversaries next year. So hopefully that will result in some really, really cool game announcements or some remasters that we don't expect, or just something cool. And I'm sure it will be, because they do a good job of honoring these anniversaries for these storied franchises, and that's something I appreciate as a fan. So Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. I've never really played too much of a Dragon Quest game, but I would like to. I like a lot of what it's doing, and I definitely have some interest in the franchise. And another franchise that I've had some fun playing and definitely have more interest in is Persona and Atlus. The only really news here is Atlus has launched a Persona 30th anniversary website. So, talking about anniversaries, I forgot that this was an anniversary news update as well. But Persona's 30th anniversary, and the first 30th anniversary update will happen on January 8th. So that's going to be taking place in the upcoming week. And that's something that I can report back to you next week on this show and tell you about and tell you what I think about it. So that is all I have for you for the video game thoughts, and that's everything for the midsection this week. So we talked about all the games in 2026 that I'm most excited for, being Resident Evil Requiem, Grand Theft Auto 6, Forza Horizon 6, Gears of War E-Day, and Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. We talked about some Splatoon 3, the upcoming Splatfest in the upcoming week. We talked about Stardew Valley, Dragon Quest VII Reimagined, and Persona. So that's everything I have for you for the video game thoughts this week. I thought about doing more of an in-depth 2026 look ahead. There's definitely more games to be highlighted or talked about, but I'm going to kind of do those weekly as I normally do. So I wanted to kind of do a more focused one, and possibly next week or the next week I'll get kind of more into the if there's some January releases going on. I always like to highlight stuff going on week to week. So just want you to expect that. And it's just wild to have a new year started. It's really kind of hard to believe, and I'm excited for the year of the front log. But that's all the video game news I have for you, and that's all the video game thoughts. There's one final section to go, which is the Miscellaneous Talk section. So that's going to happen after this upcoming music, and you don't want to miss it. Even if you don't like sports, you can. It's usually pretty short and sweet. It's a little bit more of just my journey through my fandom, which is often pretty sad and disappointing. And there's going to be some of that this week, but hopefully we can maybe laugh through some of it, or that's what you got to do sometimes as a fan of some of these teams. So come laugh at me, and I can laugh at myself too in the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 162 after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 162. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports as always, and tell you what's going on with my favorite teams. And let's start off in the NFL with the Carolina Panthers. The regular season is wrapping up this weekend. So the Panthers have played 2 games. They played a game yesterday, and they were both disappointing. And I lost a bet in here to Stoop Woot that I got to tell you about. Let's just go over the last 2 games that have happened since I last talked to you on this podcast. So last week the Panthers played the Seahawks, which they could have won the game and clinched the division, but they lost 10-27. Bryce was 14 of 24, 54 yards, 1 interception, 2 sacks for 14 yards. Rico 12 carries, 59 yards. Coker 2 catches, 16 yards was the leader. That's the leading rusher, leading receiver. 2 fumbles for the team, 1 loss. Mike Jackson had 11 total tackles, 8 solo and a pick. Ryan Fitzgerald was 1 of 1 field goals and 1 of 1 extra point. But this resulted in a loss to the Seahawks, to Sam Darnold. The Panthers were 8-8 after this, and they were playing next week, which was yesterday, for the division against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And if you can't tell, the Panthers lost. So they lost 14-16 yesterday, afternoon game versus Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. And this one, the Panthers could have, if they won the game, they won the division and punched their ticket to the playoffs. And now they're going to have to rely on the Falcons and the Saints game today. So the Falcons are able to beat the Saints. That will get the Panthers to be the division winners for the NFC South and get them into the playoffs. So all Panthers fans are Falcons fans today, but just very disappointing, and just another dud of a game. They just keep having these duds. They'll play one good game and then they'll have a dud. There was some pretty, I guess people were complaining about the refs, but I'm never going to really blame that. But there were some bummer calls, but some bad plays, just some bad choices. Really, really poor offense, I think, has been the main problem here with the Panthers. I think the defense has been holding up, but the offense hasn't been able to get it going at all. As you can see, the last two games, they've scored 14 points and 10 points. And so yesterday versus Tampa Bay, Bryce was 24 of 35, 266 yards, 2 tuds, 1 pick, no sacks, which is nice. Chuba, see the running game, these are the leading rusher. Chuba, 5 carries, 10 yards. Rico, 7 carries, 10 yards. So Rico did get his incentive. He needed 7 yards, but he had to wait till the third quarter to get that, and just barely got it there with 10 rushing yards total. T-Mac had 4 catches for 85 yards, which T-Mac has been a really big highlight. They had that was a really big momentum-changing play. They called him for pass interference. I think he busted like a 30 or 40-yard completion, and they called it back. Ended up having a punt, and was just a really, really, huge momentum shifter, and disappointing. I think a little bit of a questionable call, but some of these things can go either way. Blah blah blah. Shit happens. All right, but then Coker, leading receiver, or Coker, had 6 catches, 47 yards, and a touchdown, so a little bit more on the passing game than the rushing game. Derek Brown had 13 total tackles, 5 solo out there, playing his heart out as always. Roseboom had a pick, which was early on and very, very nice. Got the Panthers Nation into it, including myself. Ryan Fitzgerald was 0 for 1 on his field goals and 2 for 2 with extra points. And that field goal was a really, really long one. I think it would have been his career long. They attempted early on in the game with the rain, and was just, maybe a bad move there also. So Panthers are 8-9 record-wise after this game, and they are, their playoff hopes are in the hands of the Falcons today to beat the Saints, but I really don't think that's going to happen. I think the Saints have beat the Panthers twice this year, and I think this is going to be the third beat down from the Saints to the Panthers is my prediction here, which is sad, but of course, I would love to watch the Panthers play in the playoffs. That would be wild to see, and they would be getting in by the skin of their teeth. But, the thing I want to report, I lost my bet to Stoop Woot, which is very sad. We made a bet at the beginning of the season, and this is a crazy bet, and you're going to be sad for me when you see how close I was to winning it. But I bet him that the Panthers would have a positive record this year, and the bet was if the Panthers do have a positive record, he was going to have to buy me a ticket to the playoff game. And if there wasn't a playoff game, if they went positive and didn't make the playoffs somehow, he's going to have to, give me the price of a ticket to Fan Addicts to buy jerseys and hats or whatever I wanted, to celebrate. And then the other collateral that he put up for the bet was me listening to a 30-song playlist of his choice, which Stoop Whoop has some of the worst music imaginable that floats around in his brain, and some of it he enjoys and listens to, which is crazy. So he's the biggest music troll that I've ever encountered. He's the biggest troll probably definitely on the Earth at this moment, and he's in contention for biggest troll in the history of the Earth, and maybe some other planets and other galaxies in there as well. So I almost got a ticket to a playoff game from a trolley friend that would deserve to have to buy me a ticket for all the trolling that I put up with over my life. He's been my friend since I was very, very young, Mr. Stoop Woot, and I know he was very, very happy about that. And I'm very sad, so I'm going to have to listen to about an hour and a half of some terrible, awful music that's going to be stuck in my head, and it's going to be a terrible day. So I'm going to have to, maybe have to have an alcoholic drink. I'm maybe going to have to play some Mario Kart while I satisfy this bet. But I think the list is coming on Monday tomorrow. So I'm going to try to probably get it out of the way just to get it out of my mind and listen to 30 songs, and hopefully vow never to do another song bet with him. This isn't the first song bet I've lost. It's very, very dangerous territory. I knew this was dangerous territory, but the Panthers were so damn close and they blew it, and now I'm having to pay the price over here. And then on top of that as well, if you want to feel bad, well, I guess don't feel bad for me. This is all just fun stuff, but I also lost fantasy football. So I had one of the greatest seasons ever. My team just really, really didn't show up. It wasn't even a close contest. My team barely scored 100 points. And guess who I lost to? Stoop Woot. So I guess I do need, thoughts and prayers to me a little bit over here during the start of the new year with some of these bad luck and bad things happening to me. So I need some good things to start happening to me. And that's what I am hoping for. It needs to happen quick, maybe in the upcoming week. So out there, it's rough. But you could be a Panthers fan. You could be a friend of Stoop Woot right now. And hopefully you are not either one of those things. But, go Falcons today. I don't even know if I could stomach keeping up watching that, so I might be able just to check it after and see what's going on. I don't know if I can stomach any more football right now. This is a little bit of the down period, like when the Braves kind of lose or whenever the season ends of your favorite team. It can be a little bit of a sad moment over there as a fan. But whatever, go Panthers. And let's see here. So what else is going on in the sports world I want to tell you about? I'm sorry about the background noise if you can hear that, but in the basketball world, I'm a halfway fan of the Hornets, maybe becoming more of a fan of the Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident. But since last week, they've been doing a lot of losing, as usual. So Monday versus the Bucks, the Hornets lost 113 to 123. Wednesday versus the Warriors, which was a daytime game in Charlotte, which was pretty cool. I kind of looked up tickets to that, but it was pretty sold out. And sometimes going as a solo, you want to get an aisle seat, maybe just not sit in the middle of a giant row of people, and there was really like zero options for any type of like good solo seats there, unless you wanted to pay, a lot of money. But pretty interesting, and I guess Curry selling it out makes sense. And it was a pretty good game, but the Hornets lost 125 to 132. It's cool to see a daytime game. I might try to make one of those in the future. Friday at the Bucks, the Hornets lost 121 to 122. Saturday last night at the Bulls, the Hornets won 122 to 99. So the Hornets are 12 and 23 after this one. And next week they're going to be playing OKC, Toronto, Indiana, and Utah. And my favorite NBA team is the Atlanta Hawks. I actually didn't write down their results from the last week, so I'm going to look that up here live while I'm talking to you. So let's go look over here at the Atlanta Hawks. They started off Monday at OKC. I think they've been doing a lot of losing pretty much too. It's been pretty much just waiting on Trae Young trade rumors and things like that, which has been a little bit disappointing, but it seems like there might be some rumor there. I think the NBA trade deadline is actually a month away from real time, I believe is the case, but there's at least just a few weeks left on that. So there's going to be some stuff going down for sure. But since last week, the Hawks on Monday at OKC, they lost 129 to 140. Wednesday versus Minnesota, the Hawks won 126 to 102. Friday at New York, the Knicks, the Hawks won 111 to 99. And yesterday at Toronto, the Hawks lost 117 to 134 against the Toronto Raptors. And in the upcoming week, the Hawks are going to be playing Toronto again, New Orleans, Denver, and Golden State. And so the Hawks right now are 17 and 20. So both of my favorite teams are doing pretty poorly. Jalen Johnson's been a nice highlight for the Hawks, and a few other players too, I guess. Alexander Walker's been kind of a nice highlight this year as well. There's a little bit of a Ricochet trade rumors. There's a little bit of Anthony Davis coming to the Hawks trade rumors, which I would not be happy about. There are Trae Young to other team rumors, so I'm a little bit ready to be disappointed by some moves that the Hawks are making. I guess I'm happy either way that they'll have Jalen Johnson still. It seems like he's untouchable, but that will be one small caveat in the mix of some other sadness there with some roster changes or maybe possible boneheaded moves that the Hawks are about to make. So that's all the updates I have for you for the NBA world. And as far as the MLB world, my favorite sport actually, my favorite team, the Atlanta Braves, there's nothing to report. It's the offseason. There haven't been any giant offseason moves for the Braves in the past week or really just in the MLB in general. I have nothing really to report there. But the Braves season in 2026, which is right now, this year currently going on, is going to begin on Friday, March 27, 2026 in a series versus the Royals. So that game was originally intended for Thursday. They moved it back to Friday, and that puts all three games to start the season in consecutive order, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for the Atlanta Braves. And I really, really can't wait for that. I want them to pay one more starting pitcher, a big bag of money, and that would be my hope going into – they could pay two more pitchers, but I really hope they do one at least. Would be a realistic hope, and I don't even feel like that's going to happen, but that's something I would like to happen. And if they want to pay two, I think they need to open up the somebody call the Brinks truck and go pay some players. That's what you got to do to get in the mix of trying to compete over here. And these other teams keep spending, and the Braves, kind of being tight out here, and I think that is not helping them get some wins, not helping fans like me be happy about them. But either way, go Braves. So that's all the updates I have for you in the sports world this week. We talked about the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hawks, and the Braves. So I want to definitely say go Falcons today. Maybe next week. So if the Falcons win today, the Panthers will get a bye next week will be the wild card round, and the Panthers will play in the following weekend in the divisional round. And I think it would be against Seattle. I think it's how it's slated to go. I don't know if that's 100% true, but I don't know. I'm not feeling too hopeful today, but either way, I'll tell you about it next week. So that's everything going on in the sports world, and that's everything for the Miscellaneous Talk section, and that's everything for the entire show today. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Let me close out my Hawks thing here. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. And just thank you so much for listening to this first show of the new year. Like I said earlier, if you didn't listen to the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025 last week, please go check that out. Ghost of Yotei was the Game of the Year winner for this show for 2025, and I'm just very, very excited about that, and I'm still playing some more of that game, and I am very, very excited for what 2026 is going to bring. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of wonderful video games, and I'm excited to talk about it all. So, just Happy New Year to you out there in the world. If things are going good for you, I hope that continues. If things are going poorly, I hope that changes. And I hope you come back and listen to another episode of Dep Lewis Show next week, because that's where I'll be. And I will talk to you then. Goodbye.